You are listening to the Beaverton, North America's trusted source of news.
This week on the Beaverton, Alberta begins purchasing alcohol from the U.S. again. Danielle Smith assured voters she's still very committed to the Please Buy Alberta movement. Buy Canada movement. Mark Carney sanctions far-right Israeli ministers for their heinous actions in Palestine and simultaneously invites them to the G7. Elon Musk claims Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Trump says he never visited the pedophile island because his secret pedophile island is much bigger. That's right, it's time to make fun of the news once again on the Beaverton Weekly Report. Welcome to the show, everyone. So glad you are tuning in. I'm your host, Luke Gordon-Field, and joining me this week are three of our regular panelists, all of whom have had martial law declared on them many times. Nile Seguin, Ian MacIntyre, and Clare Blackwood. Welcome all.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi.
I didn't think I was allowed to speak if I were under martial law.
You know what? It's been declared and revoked, so we're fine.
Oh, sweet.
You're fine. You're no longer under martial law for the next
martial
hour.
law ever.
I just like inhaling the tear gas.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Let's dive in. For you, the listener, if you felt like the world has gone very badly over the last week and civil rights were being trampled left and right, good news. Your powers of perception have not failed you. Things have gotten real dark real quick. They were dark already, but let's begin in the state that was very recently advertising for Canadians to come visit there, California.
Hi, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, it's
we haven't forgotten.
It's going to be hard to cut a new commercial around that.
Just explosions. Come visit the fires.
They're going to need a soundstage, possibly in Canada.
It's Mississauga for LA.
Just film it here.
They should just send a film crew out to the riots or whatever, the demonstrations.
That'd be great B-roll for a lot of things.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
You could use that for so much stuff. It'd be so cheap. Get a tax credit for it.
Based on his previous video, it probably would be something like, I know in Canada, you don't have the chance of getting killed by rubber bullets. We know that's what you want, so come on down to LA.
Not to jump too far ahead, but did you see that? So the police were shooting rubber bullets at people, if you don't know, and on CNN, and I've confirmed this is real, I'm 90% sure at least, there was a journalist who did a live feed and was like, held up a bunch of these rubber bullets, and she was like, these are what the protesters are throwing at police, and they explode. And everyone was like, those are the rubber bullets that the police shot at the protesters. What are you talking about? And she was like, I don't know. I've been around. She was just like, they explode. It's like, what are you doing? There's propaganda, and then there's just full on like, reverse Uno, gotcha. These actually were thrown at the police.
Even the cops were like, come on, man.
Do better.
Yeah, work with us.
Yeah. Subtle propaganda. Subtle. Brooklyn Nine-Nine level, not Law and Order Toronto.
I love how every episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine was like, what wacky office bet are they up to? Because their show was fundamentally about the murder police. Yeah. And it's hard to make that funny.
Yeah. There was, that great moment where they realized halfway through and they were like, oh dear. Us white men created a problematic show without realizing it. Who would have thunk it?
It was the season that got made after the Black Lives Matter protests, and I think it was like season 8, and yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were pretty far into it. They were like, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Season 1, it was like, Jake has illegally arrested a man and has 48 hours to figure out that he actually did it. Whackity schmackity do. And season 8, they were like, Rosa has quit the police department for allegations of racism.
Anyway, thank you for joining our Brooklyn Nine-Nine recap podcast.
I know. I did not watch the show, so I'm going to wait this out. I'm just going to go for a walk.
Anyways, turning back to the real news stories. So for those who have either not followed the news or like myself before I started really prepping for this podcast, have just been so overwhelmed by the volume of news coming out of California that it's been hard to figure out what started when. Let me give you a little bit of background. Obviously, this started with protests against ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the United States. And for those who are unaware, what ICE does is, in order to carry out their duty, is a bunch of dudes in bulletproof vests and masks will show up, grab someone, throw them in the back of an unmarked van, and that's their job, I guess, or that's at least their version of doing their job. Yep. Literally what the bad guys do in all the movies.
And it's at like kindergartens and grocery stores.
Quinceañeras and such.
All of the most dangerous of criminals.
So much worse than that, even what they've started doing, because they have such extreme high quotas, and also for love of the game, I guess, if you're an ICE agent, is they've started showing up at immigration courtrooms.
Yes.
In other words, targeting the people who are trying to do this legally as much as possible and grabbing them there. So if you're following the law, and trying to comply with immigration rules, they'll take you there, as opposed to someone who's actually just hiding and is hard to find. They're not going to bother spending the manpower when it's like, oh, we just hang out outside the courtroom and be like, oh, you're not a citizen? Yoink. So that's what ICE has been doing. They also, just this past weekend, as an example, grabbed a Chilean woman, separated her from her very young, I believe, 12-year-old daughter, and threw her in the back of a van. And she was just a woman on vacation. She had just come to New York City on vacation. There was no indication she was planning to overstay her visa or do anything illegal. She was there on a very valid tourist visa and was just there to see Times Square and a Broadway show, and she got iced.
So I'm pretty sure she was in MS-13, though.
Yeah.
They've said that she was.
I mean, you've seen the tattoos on her fingers,
I saw the Photoshop
right?
of it,
Yeah.
How good was this vacation package that she was like, okay, I know there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but I'm just going to sneak into, we're not going. That is very brave of her. I know this is victim blaming. I'm sorry. But I'm like, really?
I was like, where are we going with this?
You're on vacation in New York.
Maybe the vacation package is so cheap because they make up their money on the other end by tipping off ICE about people that are getting... Okay, I'm writing that down as a business idea.
Maybe whoever the Gavin Newsom of New York had recorded a Spanish language version of the ad. Who's the mayor of New York? I've completely forgotten. Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City. But who's the governor of New York? I can't remember.
There was the video of like this lady being dragged into an elevator outside of a courtroom because her lawyer went to the washroom, and then they just took her. She fainted, and then they pulled her body into the elevator. Well, people are going, her lawyer is in the bathroom. You need to wait. And the elevator doors just closed.
Yeah. So that is the horrifying backdrop to the most recent events, which is that's been going on for months. That's been going on during Trump's first term, during Biden, a little bit less so, but still happening. And now especially during Trump 2.0. And it's obviously ratcheted up because they are empowered to act as lawlessly and are celebrated for doing so by people on the right. So that, unsurprisingly, was met with a backlash. I would argue it's shocking it took this long to get to this level. But anyways, so in downtown LA this past weekend, protests converged at a holding center where people were being detained by ICE. The protesters started throwing things, especially at ICE vehicles. You probably have seen videos of people throwing rocks and smashing windows.
Somebody think of the property.
The property. Now, I mean, there was also heinous injuries. The DOJ put out a video of an ICE agent who suffered a minor cut to the finger.
Oh my God.
Times are tough for ICE.
While he was separating a mom and her kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Ow, it bit me.
Yeah, he cut his finger on all the paperwork he didn't file.
Yeah. And so now we're, of course, in this great moment where all the people who want to be seen as the reasonable moderates have to come out and be like, we condemn ICE, but also we condemn the protesters. These things are equal in my mind. And it's this moment of classic centrism where they pull out some MLK quote and
forget about the rest of it.
Yeah.
Forget about all the rest of the MLK.
Yeah, not letter from a Birmingham jail, to be clear. The other stuff.
Let's be realistic. They pull out the one MLK quote.
Yeah.
There's not a second backup one that they're pulling out here.
Yeah, the one they know. Yes. And like John Fetterman, for example, comes out and condemns the protesters and also blames Democrats for not condemning the protesters harshly enough, which is like a little bit unfair because it's like I feel like Democrats are forced to answer for people that are just seen as nominally aligned with the Democrats in a way that Republicans are not at all. Like no Democrat has been in favor of these protests, but it's like why won't the Democrats condemn them? It's like they don't actually have anything to do with them.
They also don't condemn anyone.
Yeah.
So
that's not what we do.
No, that's not what the Democrats do.
That's dangerously close to an opinion. I do not feel comfortable. Pull the chute and then just somehow fly out of the room.
Yeah, we were making our shirts pink in solidarity with something, and I guess we won't now.
I mean, it's also as if there's been a lopsided media environment that disadvantages the Democrats systematically created for the past 50 years, and they are forced to answer for every perceived slight, whereas Republicans are run interference for. That also happens.
Yeah, that's true. I just have such little sympathy for the Democrats in general.
Oh, sure. No, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Ian, which I think is becoming my catchphrase on the show. Sorry. But the thing that thing where I don't make a joke and I just say something long-winded? You're forced to sort of agree with it? I didn't mean the Ian part. I feel like I say I don't disagree too much. That's just not me as a host.
Can you tell we're Canadian?
Sorry.
But to your... but the thing is, I will say... The Democrats' approach to this unfair media market has seemed to be, well, if we bury our head in the sand as hardly as deeply as possible.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
No one will be mad at us, which is obviously impossible because the right will always find a way to make it Democrats' fault. And now the left is, if you see Democrats' approval numbers, like the most ardent Democrat Party members don't approve of the Democrats anymore. They're in like 20 to 80 level of approve to disapprove. So like taking a stand is a thing that might actually work, but they're not going to try it at all.
God.
Yeah, no, they're in denial of what's happening and what they got to do. Which, I mean, part of me is like, I'd probably do the same thing. I would probably be way too scared. Not that I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can fight the evil, but you got to fight the evil, buddy. It's your job. It's
If
what
I
you
had
gotta
that
do.
bulletproof pension, yeah, man. I'd stick my head in a bunch of sand.
Anyways, but it's you took the job basically. You took the job you were hoping there wasn't gonna be.
Yep.
Like a dictator, there is. That's
fairness-
unfortunate. You were wrong place, wrong time, buddy. So but now you got to suit up.
In fairness, most of them took the job back in the 1986 midterms.
No, that's just talking about the young ones.
Right.
We got some skeletons.
The young one.
We got, we got some skeletons.
Yeah, most of them signed up to fight Iran-Contra. And they're like, what's going on now?
They're still geared up for like, I don't get it. This isn't like the Soviets at all. What do we do?
I'll go talk about this on the McLaughlin group, and we'll sort it all out.
Oh my goodness.
I'll get to it right after Murder, She Wrote.
For what it's worth, though, with LA, I actually did a bit of investigative journalism this week. And by that, I mean, this afternoon, I texted some people I know in LA to get a firsthand account of what is going on down there on the streets. And as I found out,
These were all ICE agents, by the way.
all of you, a lot of ICE
All of
agents.
Ian's
Semper Fi, guys. Semper Fi.
Marines.
As I found out firsthand in LA, my friend James just got staffed in the room on an HBO Max show, and I'm very happy for him and pretty jealous.
Okay,
And
so
that's all that's happening in LA.
that's
Actually,
everything that's happening
that's
in
not
LA.
far off. I know
you're-
most people in LA, they're like, there's no riots, guys. There's
Oh
nothing
no,
happening.
that's
Like,
absolutely what all of them said. They're like,
Yeah,
it's totally
yeah.
nice. The weather's pretty nice outside.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening outside of this one square block.
I might be a little jaded from all of the rough few years of TV writing, but that is as shocking to me. They're
someone
making
got a
a
staff
show.
job? I know,
and
right?
they're staffing writers. What?
Yeah.
yeah, your friend James is an AI bot, right?
Yeah. James is just, it's an acronym for like something
I don't
smart.
disagree that it is. Oh fuck! I said it again. Sorry. Now we're gonna have to drink every time I say it.
Just
Sorry.
say I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why that's my phrasing. I don't like it either. But anyway.
Hey, we got a catchprise. Let's get some merch going, everybody.
The Beaverton.
Can you imagine wearing a shirt that just
disagree.
says "I don't disagree"?
In Canada, yes, I can imagine that.
Everyone just coming up to you at the park, whatever, being like,
kind of-
"What do you stand for?"
Isn't that the liberals' slogan?
Yes.
I don't disagree. 4 more years.
Yeah, in beige and gray.
Yeah.
It's beige on beige. You're like, are those letters? I don't know. Maybe I gotta go.
They might be letters. I don't disagree.
I do think it's worth noting. That's another way to say it. I do think it's worth noting that, yeah, obviously for a lot of people living in LA, this hasn't, they're not a city under siege. I understand it's not a war zone, compared to another location we're going to talk about in a second, compared to what's going on in Gaza. Obviously, vastly different situations. However, there is a few things that we haven't come to yet. First of all, obviously, when these protests were whipped up, such as they were by right-wing media, and I agree, they weren't a massive riot or whatever, but they were whipped up and portrayed that way in right-wing media. So, of course, in comes Donald Trump, who called in the National Guard, which it's worth noting, first time since the 60s, the calling in the National Guard was done without the governor's consent.
Selma, baby.
Yeah, well, that was done to desegregate schools. This was done to protect some windshields. Equally important things, obviously.
I think they're trying to desegregate California. if they can.
Yes.
I think
no,
you mean
resegregate.
Resegregate.
Yes. Damn it.
Yeah, desegregating was good.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
Sorry. Yes, that was done by LBJ and Kennedy to desegregate very racist Southern public schools. Anyways, Trump's quote was, "We're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden and his auto pen," which...
Oh my
Talk
God.
about pulling in a non sequitur.
old reference.
Not only bringing back Biden, which at this point you gotta let that go. The man's literally dying down the street. And two, like the auto pen scandal. That's your look over here distraction.
He loves a good callback.
He does.
To be honest, I am very surprised he remembers AutoPen. He's still a
Yeah.
little sharp. It's not full sundown yet.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's the thing is he latches onto the three things he knows and repeats them ad nauseum like your grandpa telling a story from the war.
shit.
I do think that's pure sundowning, yes.
That is the opposite of what I thought it was. Fair.
I would say take away Grandpa's car keys if Trump had ever driven a car in his life.
So, and he seems to be in this mode where it's like, okay, he has created all this chaos. Then there's chaos, which again, I know wasn't as bad as Fox News would have us believe, but was a certain level of chaos. Now he gets to use the chaos to justify further force. Is this kind of exactly is this Trump's dream scenario that he gets to do this?
Yes.
Yeah. If it wasn't this, it was going to be something else, right?
Yeah.
Like
This is
was
pure-
inevitable that he was going to latch on to something and be like, I'm sending in the guard, and now it's par. We're sort of like going to get desensitized to it.
And it's in a blue state, which is obviously what they want. Like they're not going after red states. And like this is what I think we've talked about this before, but it's like this is what dictators do. They create a problem and then they solve it. Like he's bringing in the troops when really nothing is happening in LA, and he's already saying, well, it's getting better because of me, because of what I did. The riots are gone because what I did. And it's like they were never there, man. Like what are you doing?
I mean, this is so boilerplate dictator stuff that Andor season 2 literally did a whole season-long plot line about it, and they wrote it 2 years ago, and they did it better and smarter.
God, I love that show.
It's a great show.
Yes.
But on that, the Imperials were like clever and had strategy and everything, and Trump's just like auto pen.
I mean, until the end, they kind of fell apart with that. Those last 2 episodes, the Imperials revealed themselves to be pretty dumb. But anyways, that'll be for our Andor recap episode. But yeah, you're right. It's Reichstag fire being the original OG example of how dictators can do this kind of thing. The thing that I don't think we want to say, or at least I don't want to say, is that means you shouldn't protest because Trump will just use it against you. The thing is, you can't just not stand up because then, the dictator might use this to get what he wants. Because if you don't stand up, the dictator gets what he wants.
Yes.
So it's this, again, catch-22 that the left, that people who are actually trying to stand up for people in ICE detention, not the Democrats who are just like wishy-washy, are stuck in, where they're going to be blamed if they do and blamed if they don't. And so what do you do? And like the only solution is to like protest perfectly, which is impossible.
Sure.
If you protest the way the state wants you to, it has no impact.
Yep.
And if you protest the way the state doesn't want you to, the state uses you as justification in order to increase power or increase violence against you and violence against other people. So it's this complete catch-22 that would be not a catch-22 if, say, the media who knows this is what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
We're not necessarily smarter than the people working in mainstream media. They know what is happening, but they're still going to pretend it's like, do Democrats have a violence problem on the left? Like, they're still going to lead all their stories with that. And, at the end of the day, I think the cycle is just going to go on and on and on. I'm rambling at this point, but what do you guys think about all that?
That's true, though. I mean, like, if you look at
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree. Any single historical revolution or change, and not every single one, but like most things are solved with violence. It's not ideal, but
That's
no,
how
but
Claire
like
lives her life, everybody.
it's true.
See, just before the fight, we all have black eyes.
She's cracking her knuckles right
I
now.
kick the hell out of anybody in my way on the sidewalk. But no, like if you like how people have gotten rights, how people have overthrown the bourgeoisie, how people have upended persecution. It's always through violence. It's never people just sitting and being like, "Please, sir." May I have some rights? And people are just, so many people, especially from the left, are saying, like, don't give them what they want. Don't give them violence. And I'm like, fuck off. You're not in this. So many times we're so good at standing outside and being like, I've never experienced this, right? I can't just stand there and just be like, well, no, I would never. If somebody was trying to take away my rights, I would never fight back. No, fight back.
Well, it's also so nice how don't give them what they want so perfectly aligns with stay home and don't do anything.
Be quiet and it's like, yes, take care of each other. Like, obviously do your best to take care of the people that you love and yourself, but also we can't expect them to let people trample all over their basic human rights.
It feels like it's this tricky thing, obviously. Wow, hot take. But
He's going somewhere with this.
It does feel like it reminds me of like all of the climate change stuff where they're like, guys, we have to fix the climate. And it's like you should just be talking to billionaires because we're just fucking hanging out.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to be like downer or cynical, but it is very difficult for the plebes to manage any kind of change. So this thing of like, hey, you guys should be out there protesting. Okay, so I get arrested, I get my teeth kicked in. What happens? Nothing. So it's like it goes back to the Democrats. Guys, get in the fucking game. Like you can't put this on the people who gave you the job, because they gave you the job with the understanding that you would handle the shit, and you're not doing it.
As you were comparing it to climate change, which I think is a good point, in my head I was just like, oh God, they're going to come out with something like a social justice footprint or something to make it our fault. The way the airlines and everyone did with the
wow,
carbon
that
footprint.
is a naturally evil brain you have. That was very fast. We need to delete that.
Yeah. Do not give them
We have to cut
ideas.
that.
Luke, you should join up with my evil travel agency idea.
We're just
We can
gonna
make some real money.
Go hang out with his ice friends in LA. I think.
Yeah, man.
You promote it pretty quick.
They're good guys. They all got cool sunglasses.
You could finally stop democracy.
I mean, the HBO Max show is a very pro-ICE show. It's just following around ICE agents with cool music like cops used to do back in the day. Yeah. We can move on from this subject. I'll just leave it with the wonderful quote from Kwame Ture, who said, in order for nonviolence to work, your opponent must have a conscience, and the United States has none.
Can we take a hot second to feel bad for all of the Gen Z, all the American Gen Zs? Like, how shit has your life been? So you're born, few years, you're like 2-3 years old. Some towers get hit and everyone gets really intense. Then you're 8 and everyone loses their jobs, their fucking houses. Then you're like, sweet, high school, no, lockdown. You're like, okay, well, at least now that's a no dictatorship. You're like, oh, come on, man.
I agree with everything you said, although I will say, I don't think a 2-year-old living in like Nebraska was that sad about 9/11.
Oh, just wringing their hands, reading the New York Times.
No. But what I mean is there
We gotta
was
invade Iraq.
No, there was a shift. There was like a fucking zeitgeist shift. There was like, oh, we're cool, and now everyone's like tense and angry.
Yeah.
I hear you. No, I do hear you. It's just fair enough. And also, as you were saying it, I was like, no, they would have been. Oh no, they're so young.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they wouldn't be.
Wait, what's that pain? No, it's father
But
time.
I was young when 9/11 happened, not that young.
Not me.
Well, turning to politics at home, where, as we said on the site, Carney fights off harsh U.S. authoritarianism with slightly gentler Canadian authoritarianism. We are in a Carney honeymoon, and a lot of the increase.
Can we call it Carnival?
Yes, we can. You know what?
Get
Yes, we can. I was gonna say no,
I
but you know
nearly
what?
said
Yes.
you're fired. I was like, you're fired. Like I had to stop.
Well,
I
I guess we know what
my teeth.
I guess we know what the image for the podcast is going to be this week. It's already made it.
I do disagree.
With his polls are up, Poilievre's are down, and a lot of the increase is coming from conservatives. Unsurprisingly, if you look at his policies. So, first one I want to talk about is he has committed to to spending 2% of Canada's GDP on military spending. He says we'll do it by March, which is like 10 months from now, not even.
So much money.
$9.3 billion in new spending, much of which, according to the articles I read, is going to be foundational, meaning recruitment, giving soldiers pay rises and equipment purchases, as well as an expansion of the Canadian defense industry, which could mean a lot of things, obviously. There was a lot of talk that the accounting trick way to get around this was just fold the Coast Guard in as defense, which is right now it's under the Ministry of Fisheries. But in a lot of countries, it's treated as part of their, including I think the States, it's treated as part of their defense budget.
That's kind of weird.
And so that would have been $2.5 million just like by moving an Excel column, which seems so perfect for Carney. It's like, a little financial trick and we get it under the wire.
I'm for that, just for the chutzpah.
Yeah, I would have loved it. Now, apparently that's not what he's doing. Now, it's not 100% not what he's doing because all of this is an announcement.
He's
and there's
folding
no,
in the Boy
hard
Scouts.
numbers. Yeah, exactly.
Mobilizing the Girl Guides.
I mean, the brownies. Oh, you get the brownies. They're terrifying.
Finally, they'll
They
have some
bite.
fucking
They are intense,
oversight.
yes.
Those monsters.
But yeah, so he's committed to it. The thing that is most notable to me is like how quickly he is trying to do this, which just screams to me I'm solving a political problem south of the border. But how did you guys react to the 2% commitment?
I don't know. This is not at all my area of expertise. I just kind of think like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we spending so much money when we have so many other things that are like in dire straits in the country that we could put the money towards? Especially like because some people are like, oh, well, now we have these threats in the States that we have to watch out for. And I'm like, do you think we have the kind of money that could get us close to being able to defend ourselves from the states if we really had to? The answer is no.
No, of course
like
not.
absolutely not. So what are we doing? And this is where maybe I'm ignorant, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I'm just kind of looking at this being like, there's a lot better places that money could go, and this feels kind of like what we were talking about, like this just kind of capitulatory gesture, and it made me mad, basically.
I kind of see it as, and I know you're right, like we don't have Death Star fighting money, but at the same time, we can't count on the states to defend us from anything else anymore because NATO doesn't mean anything. So at some point, there's a good chance that, I don't know, if Belgium tries to invade us, we might have to handle that ourselves.
But like, are we worried about Belgium invading it? You know
I'm
what I mean?
very worried about it all the time.
You're
yeah, I
so
remember you
naive,
telling me
Claire.
about that.
I have a
Yeah,
whole other podcast about it.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to learn Flemish.
It's just
This is
called
bullshit.
I'm terrified that Belgium's going to invade us, the podcast.
Snappy title.
Yeah.
I had a thought, now it's gone. That fucking Belgium thing just kicked it right out. I mean, yeah, okay. It's, I don't know. Can't buy a gun, but can we at least get pepper spray for our, just in case? Listen, the Americans are making me really nervous, man.
Well, I mean, the thing that Carney has said is that the defense spending ordinarily would go to a lot of American companies because obviously they make most of the stuff. It would be usually in stuff that is integrated with the United States in a lot of cases. He is trying to say this defense spending, again, is going to go towards Canadian companies, building out Canada's armed forces, less integration with the United States. So from that front, maybe it's something that we can be slightly happy about, even if we think, oh, that money could be used to feed and clothe and give people health care, et cetera. But so that's his reasoning of why this isn't capitulation is actually we're building Canada's separate industry, including like the private industry, and not just giving a ton of money to the U.S.
I mean, you know, what for the economic hit that we're about to take?
I feel like
I'm not
Claire
against that.
does not disagree.
So many T-shirts.
Yeah, I can tell that argument really won all of you guys over by the just complete skeptical faces that were coming at me.
Oh,
Here's
no,
my
no,
thing. I'm full on. I'm too ignorant to know. Like as you said, like I don't know enough about this. But I mean, yeah, I'm just full on freaked out because like a rational American army would be like trying to take and hold Canada is the dumbest fucking idea.
Correct.
It's way easier if we just work with them.
We're like
we'll get what
giant
we
Vietnam,
want anyways.
yes.
We'll get what we want anyways if we just like are nice and say they're pretty. But that is not. We're not in rational America anymore. We're in Donald Trump America, who's like, I want to see it. Oh, great. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my T-shirt, you guys.
We can probably put yours on the back of mine. I feel like this is going to be a lot of work in Canva to design all these. The other, obviously, big news with Carney is that he is inviting Indian Prime Minister Modi and what is it, Crown Prince of
Crown
Saudi
Prince
Arabia,
Mohammed bin
Salman, to the upcoming
Yeah.
G7, which I'm sure we'll have a recap of next week because it's taking place this weekend. So obviously that has angered a lot of people, including most especially Sikh Canadians who are furious because Modi, as Canada has said, Modi's government at least, killed a very prominent Sikh activist in Canada, committed political assassination in Canada, something that, is basically unheard of here, going back to like the 19th century when the last one happened, which I think was a Irish Fenian who was murdered in Canada. We don't even have. Oh, sorry, that's not true. The October crisis in Quebec. But other than that, political assassination's pretty rare in this country. So. I think everyone's first thought is this is just Carney straight up putting money over any kind of principle.
Yes.
Is there any other justification we can see to it for inviting, especially Modi, who our government, yes, it wasn't Carney's government at the time, but the Liberal government accused Modi of murdering, 18 months ago, 2 years ago? Not even that long ago.
I think a lot of people are just going to give you that kind of argument, being like, "Whoa, you think Canada can just get rid of these massively powerful alliances and say no to all this money?" And I'm like, "Where is our line?" Right? Where's our moral line in the sand? You have a prime minister who's all about following the rules of order, right? That he talks about that, and he talks about how he wants his goal for the G7 to be about fostering peaceful cooperation between the countries. And then he invites people who are just nice rules would suck if somebody assassinated them. And like, I just kind of think that we have to figure out what's our line in the sand. And I realize that this makes me sound like a delusional optimist, but also I feel like as a country, you kind of have to just decide where your morals lie. And this just feels like he's made that decision.
Yeah, I mean, morals lie in investment growth and trade benefits. Yeah,
I will say the G7 sucks enough as it is. What with a lot of the countries that are in it, like, why are we inviting extra sucky guys? Like, Saudi Arabia is not in the G7 last time I checked. Why are we opening up the house party to anyone who wants to come?
Yeah, the G7 is like the G7 and everyone gets a +8. Like, it's like there's so many countries coming to this fucking thing. It's like, just do the G20 then. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
like
BYOD, bring your own dictator to the G7.
Yeah, it's that's the thing that's a start. He was under zero obligation to do this.
Yes, as far as such an unforced error.
As far as I know, there was zero pressure to do this. I don't remember anyone pushing for this outside of maybe like Pierre Poilievre is pro this move, which is another reason to worry about it. And obviously, he has been alleged to have connections with Indian government officials who helped him in the leadership race, allegedly, and also not to his knowledge. But he is very pro-India, and his advisors are very pro-India. So of course he's thrilled with this. But it seems to me that it's such a thing of as if you couldn't make trade deals with India in a subtler way. The only way to do it is to invite this guy into our country, stand next to him, sit next to him at press conferences, whatever the case may be. Shake his hand. Yeah. All the horrible visuals. Like, I don't think Carney would get anywhere near as much blowback if they announced a trade deal over XYZ goods.
Yeah, we already know that we make deals with places like Saudi Arabia. Like, it's not hidden. But to bring this guy here, knowing that the country is just flagrantly doing human rights abuses all the time, left, right, and center, it's just...
It's a weird, like, speaking of unforced errors, I think it's too businessy. I think he's thinking too businessy and he's not thinking prime minister, because now you've just set the precedent of like, oh, if you want to kill someone here, we'll be cool with it. And I feel like that's going to come back and bite us in the ass at some point.
That's what happens when you elect a banker.
That does seem like an odd precedent to set.
18 months and then it's cool. I mean, I know the assassination was longer than that, but like 18 months since I believe Trudeau publicly accused them of and revealed that not like just Trudeau, but like the RCMP has evidence. Now, it's not public evidence.
So
that
weird.
Indian government officials, and I don't know a ton about Modi's government, but I know enough to say that if Indian government officials did it, Modi was aware of it. He maybe didn't officially give the green light in a way that could be traced back to him, but this seems like Stalin being like, what's going on in Ukraine? I haven't heard. The idea that he didn't know this was happening and this was some rogue security officer seems
Do you think
very far-fetched to me.
You think there's a backdoor situation where it's like, okay, I'll invite you to the G7, but no more murdering of my citizens.
No more corruption, guys.
It fell apart as I was saying.
Should we need to make that kind of deal? I'll give you a benefit if you don't do something super illegal.
I'm trying to give him some sort. I'm trying to figure out the why. I'm trying to figure out why would you do this?
I think it's money. It's just money and connections and deals.
It's money and the only defense I can make of it for Carney, and I agree, like it's just so fucking insane. Like imagine, another murderer getting like a trade deal in exchange for not murdering more.
Jesus.
But the only thing you could say is like, okay, we have a very not great relationship with China because of the two Michaels, because of a lot of other things. That doesn't look good. That is maybe on the repair, but we have a obviously very bad relationship with the United States, our major trading partner by 1 billion % right now.
Both also coming, by the way.
Exactly. Well, yes. But like they're in, so you get it. Europe, is arguably a bit of a sinking ship. Where else do you go is, I guess, the Carney defense, right? Like India is on the rise. India is at least nominally a democracy. India hasn't kidnapped Canadian citizens left and right.
What's the level right now? Like 70% of the world is under authoritarian rule or something like that?
Really?
Oh God, really?
It's
true?
Getting pretty high. I mean, like quasi-authoritarian. Like
if you're counting India in that state.
Yeah.
Because where they have elections, but maybe they're not super fair or whatever.
Fair.
Like managed democracies or whatever they call them.
Yeah. Because obviously India is now the biggest country in the world population-wise. Like it's past China.
Yeah.
Oh, good for them.
So, way to go. Way to fuck.
Way to bang.
way to bang that out.
That's going to be on my T-shirt.
Way to bang. thing.
Why is yours so much cooler than mine? I came up with it.
See, we went too soon.
You already made your choice, man. I don't know what else to tell you.
No, we did choose for him. Yeah.
I just said a phrase enough times that I got
I
annoyed
want
with
the
myself.
way to fuck t-shirt, Ian.
Oh, that's not in dispute.
Just a big thumbs up. Yeah, so that's it's so inexplicable. And Carney, when asked about it, did exactly what we're describing. He just defaulted to, well, India's economy, and they're now the biggest country in the world and stuff. So like, again, just zero actual justification for it other than money, money, money.
Sure.
Which is, I get that's how the world works. Obviously, none of us are naive here. But to just outright say it feels like a departure from previous norms, previous way politicians would do things, where they at least have to find a justification that isn't, give us some money, please, and we'll give you some of our lumber or whatever.
And I don't know this, maybe you've watched more about it than I have, but did he even acknowledge the hypocrisy of it? Like, did he even acknowledge the fact that they've killed Canadians and all that kind of stuff? Or was it just like, woof?
I think he said, I can't comment on the investigation because it's ongoing, and then defaulted to business stuff.
Lame.
And even, putting aside principles, which, talking like Carney, easy to do. So putting aside principles, I mean, Sikh Canadians are a huge voting bloc.
Oh, yeah.
And Liberals struggled mightily in areas with, in the GTA with a huge percentage of Sikh people. So that's a really big risk politically. Now, his argument is probably, I got 3.5 years. No one's going to remember this in 3.5 years. By the time the next election's around, unless my government falls for some silly reason. So he's probably thinking this will be a blip and then we'll get back to repairing our relationship. But that's a pretty big risk, because this is this is literally someone whose government murdered not just a member of the community, but an activist, a prominent member of the community. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That seems like politically, like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Pretty big.
I don't disagree.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you for, I know. Sometimes when I end a topic with just like a serious point, it's like, all right, I forgot this was a comedy podcast. Right. I should have been building to a joke. Sorry.
It is hard. Like we were like I was looking at the news and I'm like, whoa, this is going to be a dry martini this episode.
Yeah. This is why we have the quiz at the end, folks. This is why we have a quiz with all those silly Moose and a Tim Hortons stuff at the end.
Bring on the kangaroos.
Well, in lighter news, Israel and Palestine.
Jesus.
I'll keep it on Carney for one quick sec, though, which is that the other thing he did this week is he attended the exhibit on the October 7th massacre, which, don't get me wrong, that's fine. Like, it's I don't love that it's being used by the Israeli government to justify propaganda, but it was a horrific attack.
Wait, we have an exhibit on that here?
Yes.
Yes.
In Ottawa, yeah. And it's being put on by Israel and Friends of Israel. And I think they're in many cities, not just here, but yeah. So he went and the visit I don't think is that objectionable. I can certainly understand why some people are objecting. It's the thing he said afterwards, which is he posted about it and then said, everyone should go so they can see how the war started. Fuck off.
Oh, fuck off.
All the way off. Yeah. This did not start on October 7th. No matter where you stand on the conflict, this has been a conflict since 1948. There's a reason people have been praying for peace in the Middle East since before any of us were born. Mm. This did not start October 7th. And to say it did is complete Israeli propaganda.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Just it just completely justifies everything. Like there was no reason for people in Palestine to attack us. We had done nothing wrong. This all started October 7th.
They had such
that's
great
insane.
lives.
Yeah, I mean that's just insane.
Netanyahu does write great copy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I just imagine a Mossad agent like holding a gun to his head while he wrote that. That's the level of like craven pro-Israel. And then I think he was trying to balance it because he knew he was going to do the sanctions. But it's worth pointing out, I talked about them off top, but the sanctions on these far-right Israeli politicians, they're for what they did in the West Bank with the settlers.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Gaza. So even though, yes, it's nice to see that Canada and the UK and France and I forget who else, Australia, I believe, are sanctioning these people and hopefully that will have some moderate level of impact, you can already see how it's kind of like trying to paint a picture of, oh, well, individuals in Israel have gone too far,
yes.
but Israel as a whole, that wasn't their fault. This was just these rogue individuals like Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben Gvir and such.
like the ones in charge.
Yeah.
But
Just
they
a few
didn't
bad
even say
apples.
about Netanyahu.
Yes.
I mean, like, if you're going to sanction people, if you're going to start that precedent of sanctioning high-ranking people for, I think the quote was like, inciting violence against Palestinians, you can't just stop at 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like they all do that. If that's your line, then hold that line. But it's just like, oh, we're just going to pick two. We're just going to appease people. Like, here you go, have two lines.
Yeah, and they pick
like,
the two most easily objectionable. They're people who've been
Yes.
convicted in Israel
Yes.
of terrorism and war crimes charges against Palestinian. They've publicly called for genocide. Like they talk about, truly heinous things like they call for. So that's the easiest people to be like, oh, we're standing up to Israel. We picked the two worst people on earth.
Yeah, but also Netanyahu has also called for genocide.
Yep.
So has his finance minister. So has his chief of
The finance minister was one of the people who was sanctioned.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. But so have his major generals, the people in charge of his armies. Like everybody has done that. So
Yeah.
it's like, cool, keep going, guys. And you know that right now they're not going to, but
No, this was, I think it was a two-pronged approach to ward off criticism from both pro-Israel and pro-Palestine figures. Be like, hey, I'm going to, basically, echo Israeli propaganda on one hand, but I'm also going to pretend I'm standing up for people in the West Bank and Palestine and hope that people don't realize that the West Bank and Gaza are two different places over here. And I think it's a classic example of trying to appease both sides and no one's happy. And nor should they be. If I was pro-Israel, I wouldn't be happy about it. And as someone who's pro-Palestine, I'm certainly not happy about it. It's the most mushy mouth thing in the world. So I think it's just the classic case of you split the difference and ended up nowhere.
Good news, everyone. Netanyahu just got invited to the G7. Same with the leader of Hamas. And same with Dr. Doom. They're all coming.
Well, before we move on to our grand final, which I've started saying instead of grand finale, a quick message to you, the listener. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for checking us out. If you would be so kind, please, if you haven't already, please, whatever app you're using to listen to this to, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever the case may be, please, leave a comment, leave 5 stars, leave a review, and also feel free to tell friends about the podcast, post about it on social media, share our clips or our headlines about the podcast if you can. That would be wonderful. Also, if you are so inclined and you would like an extended version of every episode where we talk about even more horrifying news. Sometimes it's not horrifying, but it seems to be that way. You can sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/thebeaverton. This week we covered the Freedom Flotilla and all the latest developments with Israel and Palestine. So it's a real cheery time. But you can also get bonus articles every week. You can get discounts or free merch. So check it out, patreon.com/thebeaverton. And now it's time for the approximately 10-minute long quiz.
It's the approximately 10-minute long quiz. Brought to you by Time.
Every week I ask our panel to play the approximately 10-minute long quiz where I put their knowledge of some less widely spread news stories to the test. And as we indicated during the rest of the podcast, give us a chance for a little bit of lighthearted news after some rough weeks like this week. They're not always rough like this, but this week certainly was. Our first question, panel, how did the CN Tower piss off Leafs fans this week?
It didn't choke in the first round of the playoffs?
How dare
I was just going to say, it did its job correctly.
We made it to the second round and lost in humiliating fashion.
I cannot top that. I have no idea. I'm very excited. Why would it? Okay.
Bam. All right.
Well done.
High five.
Does,
for those of you.
I learned a little bit about hockey to make that bean burn.
in learning a little bit about hockey, did you learn the real answer?
No.
Okay. Obviously the CN Tower lights up at night.
I was
It
going to
lit
say,
up.
was it the Oilers? Did it
Yeah,
light
but
up
I had already started, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. No.
It lit up in Oilers colors
Yeah.
to cheer on Canada's team in the finals.
That upset them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can you imagine Edmonton doing that for the Leafs when we're in the finals? No, you can't, because Edmonton doesn't have any buildings that tall. Burn, Edmonton! Suck it, Edmonton! You're losing 2-1. If by the time someone listens to this, you've won the finals, I'll be mad. But if not, ha-ha! Fuck you!
They could light up some oil derricks.
His true self comes out.
Wow, that's
I
a
watched
good turn.
Edmonton lost the last night's game 6-1, and I sat there just grinning ear to ear the whole fucking time.
You don't like Edmonton? Wait. Do you not like Edmonton the team or the city? What is this?
I don't like Edmonton the team. I have nothing against the city.
Luke,
I've
you-
never been to the
rivalry.
city.
You weren't this passionate when we were talking about genocide.
This matters. Wow, cut that.
Burn, Netanyahu, suck it.
He's probably an Oilers fan. Get him.
Oh my God.
Yes, so that is what pissed off Leafs fans. And I will say, I mean, I get the whole you want a Canadian team to win, but also I don't give a shit about that at all. A Canadian team can lose every year until it's the Leafs' turn. A Canadian team winning means nothing if it's not the Leafs.
What?
No, I don't care. It's not the fucking Olympics.
The Blue Jays fan and me will disagree.
Hey,
I want the Blue Jays to win.
Hey, the rest of Canada, please subscribe to our podcast and like it.
Look, if there's a hardcore Oiler fan out
stereotype
there,
you are right now.
No.
You know what absolute stereotype you are.
the hardcore Oilers fans who are listening to this, all 4 of them, they agree with me completely. If the Leafs were in the finals, they would not want the Leafs to win. No fucking
There
chance.
is something wrong with hockey fans. That is insane.
No,
How
it's
long
just
is it?
typical sports.
It's
It's
called
rivalry. That's just
93
sports.
was the last time we had a Canadian team win.
Yeah, and it should have been the fucking Leafs then, and it wasn't.
It's just never going to
So
be.
this is just mutually assured hating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, no points on that one. Just like Edmonton last night. Fuck you.
Didn't they have a goal?
They had a goal.
It was
Yeah, fine,
6-1.
whatever. Fine.
You
Yeah,
just
whatever.
let him have it.
Let me have it. Also, the Leafs lost 6-1 in Game 7, so I need something. Anyways, moving on. What Sydney Sweeney associated product is currently selling for $2,000 a pop on eBay?
I hate that I know this, so I'll
Same.
let y'all go.
I also hate
I was
that
worried
know
this was too widely known. It's
Go,
real
Nile.
gross.
Make your guess before we've ruined your mind.
Can you make a guess that tries to outgross the real answer? I don't think it's possible.
No, I'm choking. I'm choking
That's
right
fine.
now. Like the Leafs.
Nice.
Outstanding.
Bring it back.
That's all I
who
had,
wants
by
to
the
say
way.
the real
The
answer
Leafs
first?
joke.
Her bathwater.
You can be technically
soap.
more. There's soap
Yes.
made from her bathwater.
Soap made
That's
from her
correct.
bathwater.
You guys,
Which is obviously it's so fake, right? Like
I would
Sydney Sweeney
imagine.
is
Well,
not
I'm-
putting her actual bathwater in this.
That's a good point. Is that fraud?
I mean, if she's going to sign on for it, why not do it? Why is that a grosser step? All she has to do is take a bath. It's one of those things where it's like she's already signed on for the gross part, which is
Yeah.
dudes are going to be jerking off thinking it's her bathwater.
I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? Hygienically, that would create so many legal issues.
I mean, it's just like when they use it
Bathwater?
to.
You don't know what her.
Oh, but you know what she's probably.
I'm assuming she's pretty clean. I don't know.
No, but it's probably like a situation where like there's like a huge tub she dips in for 5 seconds
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
her bathwater.
I would
Because-
imagine they do something
that we're
to
talking
verify.
about
I'm sorry.
I love that we're talking about. I want to know how this works.
America used to make cars.
Then it grew the fuck up and it made bathwater. So
In fairness, this is like the perfect grift for the Trump era. This
Yeah.
is so emblematic of where
Oh
America
yeah,
is
I'm
right
like,
now.
get your money, girl. Like, you go for it. But
100%.
Okay, but also how she's very rich already. Like if this was some like person who was like in the sex work industry or someone who's like a model, and I know what my audience is, but she's starring in like $100 million movies. She's a very famous person. This feels like, did you need this too?
I mean, but like you can say that about literally like John Hamm does Uber Eats commercials.
yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
That is
like
hilarious.
George
John Hamm
Clooney
is very divorced.
George Clooney does Nespresso. I mean, like you could say that about any single major
that is
celebrity
baffling.
doing
For
it.
sure.
That's not just me. I always find I'm always like
I
maybe
hate it.
maybe this is why I'm not doing as well in life as I could. But I'm always every time I see someone famous doing a commercial, I'm like, why? Well, because you got it. You won. You
I know.
did the thing.
It pisses me off. I'm like, let us have the commercials. We're the little guys.
Let's buy the Beaverton bathwater.
You don't need Ryan Reynolds. You need me, Claire Blackwood.
It's true. They used, like stars used to only do commercials in like Japan because it was like, okay, no one will see this in the States.
But
And now
even
it's just
then-
like, buy my bathwater and jizz in it, you fucking plebes. Give me your $28.
Luke has a new catchphrase.
By the way,
you saw the commercial.
I know. I
Yeah.
was gonna say if that's the commercial. That'd be a great commercial. Buy my bathwater and jizz in it. What did you say?
fucking
You plebes.
Yeah.
Guys, our merch store is just full up this time.
And then just a musical sting.
Yeah. Well, because obviously this is a Sydney Sweeney, but it's also a reference to Saltburn, right? Where the guy drinks the
Right.
bathwater after the
Oh,
other dude jerks
God.
off. Into
Oh my
it.
God, I saw that movie and I forgot about
Yeah, but
that.
that's,
Did he jerk
that's
off
the
into it?
Yeah,
just
he
taking a-
did.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
the combo.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, they did make a product about that, didn't they?
Oh, I think this is the fusion of those two worlds. It's
No,
like,
but
hey,
they
you
did
like,
make a product.
oh, sure.
That was, I can't remember what it was. But
Barry Keoghan endorsed bathwater.
I mean,
that was like the color of jizz or something like that. There was something that they made that was, it was really gross.
if it's for sex stuff, you should get the other guy who's much better looking. Anyway, that's
Barry Keoghan.
no,
Let's
Barry
rate him.
Weird looking
Let's
Barry
I will
Keoghan.
accept no Barry Keoghan slander on here.
Wait, what?
Well, then don't listen to Sabrina Carpenter's music.
Barry Keegan's played the creepy guy.
Who drank
I'm
the
just saying
bathwater.
he's a very attractive man. That's all I'm saying.
But compared to the other guy.
Compared to the other guy, look. Okay, look, we're going classically handsome, and I understand, right? But yeah, the other guy is a smoke show.
Yeah, Jacob
Compared
Elordi. Come on, man.
Barry Keegan looks like one of those. No.
Listen, we're all learning a lot about my type in men on this podcast.
I think Barry Keegan is good looking. It's just the other guy is like
I don't think Barry,
one of the best looking human beings I've ever seen.
I would say Barry Keegan isn't ugly, but he does look like some sort of like like a 57, 30-year-old. You know,
He looks like he's going to
Right?
present you with riddles in order to pass.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of his early
Wasn't he playing the Joker at some
he
point?
was, yeah.
He was,
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of his early roles were like, look at this homely street urchin who's stowed away on our boat heading to
Listen.
Normandy or whatever.
Oh, I said what I said.
Hey, we all got our thing.
Okay. All right. We're learning about each other.
Little fun fact that I don't know why I'm putting on the podcast, but why not? So the producer of this podcast, Andrew, has like face blindness, and for a year thought that Sabrina Carpenter and Sydney Sweeney were the same person.
Fair
and so
enough.
like we were having drinks one night, and he was just like, I don't understand why no one's talking about how like the person who wrote like and sang the biggest song this summer and the person who's in the biggest movie of the summer are the same person. And I had to very gently explain that they were two different human beings, and it took a lot of Google imaging to convince him.
Oh, no, that's a fair one.
Yeah.
America just kind of copied and pasted
Top
on
blonde.
those two.
It's like how Margot Robbie looks like 4 other women.
Yeah, that
Samara
one's the
Weaving
biggest one.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
Or Bryce Dallas Howard and Jessica.
Yes.
Chastain.
Chastain,
Yeah.
Moving right along, Claire gets that point. In what
It's for you, Barry Keegan.
In what unusual location has Popeyes been accused of storing their chickens?
Inside of a turkey, inside of a duck.
Yeah, nice.
I was going to say inside cans of spinach. It's just weird to me that restaurant chain has nothing to do with the cartoon character Popeye.
Yeah, I mean they should have done like I eat some of my fried chicken and I get me muscles. Yeah.
I'm not following turducken. I'm gonna guess a morgue fridge.
Ooh.
That was just a
That sounds
moonshot.
You're giving them
Closest to
like
what-
a
You're giving them
Hail
too much
Mary.
credit because it included the word fridge.
Inside of a morgue?
No, the morgue part is not real, but
Oh.
the answer is grosser in some ways. It's not gross because there's no dead bodies, but it's more horrifying to your health because a morgue fridge would work well as a fridge.
Okay.
Yeah. The real answer is residential garages.
Is that true, though?
They've been accused. They have not agreed.
Okay.
A lawsuit filed against Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, which is the full restaurant's name, I didn't know, is accusing the fried chicken chain of buying unsafe meat from an unauthorized seller that was storing and packaging raw chicken in residential garages in Ontario.
Oh, this is specifically Ontario Popeyes.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's Popeyes Canada. Don't
How
worry.
cheap was this chicken? And who is this person that they have chicken houses like they're a Coke dealer in the 80s and they just got like a little storage garage.
Hey, we all
I
got
gotta
a little
move some
bit of processed chicken in our
I
garages.
mean, instead
like
of
to
renting
think-
out your basement to pay your mortgage, you can rent out your garage to the chicken man.
I like to think that they didn't even ask permission. This poor
there's
homeowner just
permission.
opened up their garage one day and they're like, what the fuck?
No, that's probably like, yeah, that's housing crisis all over. That's like, I can't pay this mortgage. I gotta rent out chicken space in the garage. God damn, this is dark.
Put some more tenders in there. Do it. Right by the power tools.
I mean, I could rent out my house to shoot porn, but this is way better.
It's so much more quiet.
I mean, there's
Still got
definitely more
breasts.
salmonella, but
Equally greasy, but yeah.
Wow.
yeah. So
Wow.
that's
So many questions.
yeah.
So many
I
questions.
mean, then all the answers are don't eat at Popeyes, I guess.
I mean, that was always the answer.
Yeah, fair enough. Next question. The Alberta Stampede is coming up, and this is Price is Right rules, aka closest without going over. At what time during the Alberta Stampede this year do you think bars can start serving alcohol?
99 cents.
As soon as the U.S. starts selling booze back to them. Because they're off that boycott already.
I'm going to say, trick question, the bars never close.
Ooh, that would be the kind of shit I would bring in, but it is not in this case. I would try and trick you up with that. Damn, I wish that was the answer now. The real answer, unless anyone has a guess, 6:30 a.m. The party starts at 6:30 a.m. at the Calgary Stampede. All bars in this area or whatever can absolutely open at 8 a.m. and they can apply for like special permission to open at 6:30 a.m. It's like the Stampede organizers saw all the videos of people pissing and puking and shitting all over themselves from recent years, and we're like, we can do better.
Those are people who are burning straight through the night,
Yeah.
right? Because anyone who's
Yeah.
going to drink at 6:30 is not up at 6:30.
Yeah.
No one's like, I'm going to go quick run 6 a.m. and then boom, hit the bar. 6:30 starts pounding back the beers. Like they're not go-getters.
I mean, a million years ago, I went to an Oktoberfest thing that started at like 9, and I did sleep the night before and then just start drinking. But 6:30, I agree, is so
You drank
still.
an entire day?
I think security kicked me out at about 4 p.m., maybe 4:30.
Wow.
4 p.m.
Wow.
Or 4 a.m.
No, 4
I'm
p.m.
impressed.
So like I started drinking at 9.
So like
Oh,
7
no.
hours.
And I think by 4,
Gotcha,
security was
gotcha.
like, 7 hours, or it was probably closer to 8. Security was like, get in your house, because it was in Germany. And I was like, okay. And my now wife had to like come and take me by the hand and lead me out of there. And I was just like,
I mean, you're still walking under your own power. That's pretty
yeah.
impressive.
I got on the U-Bahn, and it was fun.
Amazing.
But
sounds,
yeah,
it sounds like a great time.
it actually was. Yeah, security was very nice.
Yeah.
Just right over into another bar that's conveniently open because it's 4 p.m.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Anyway, so 6:30 a.m. If you want to go to the Calgary Stampede this year, tell me how long. Tell me if you made it past 4. See if you break my record.
No, I'm not going. You guys going?
Hell yeah. I'll do it for you, Luke.
Yeah, way to fuck.
Do you have a problem? Calgary Stampede.
I mean, I guess you have to be drunk enough to withstand all the clear animal deaths that are happening every time they do a race. Just like all the deaths, and they're just like, yeah, we're gonna take that chuck wagon horse out back to treat him. And you're just like, yeah, whatever, shots.
Chuck wagon horse is getting a beer beforehand.
The horses get to drink at 5 a.m. All right, last question. This one's complete the headline. I'm going to read a headline, missing some words. You know how the game works. TSA urges, which is the flight security people in the U.S., urges people to stop trying to use blank as photo ID.
My homemade IDs. They said they're not legally binding and a crime.
Come on down to MacIntyre's homemade IDs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this business can't lose, along with my shady travel agency that dives people out to ice.
Look, I just am proud of you for having a travel agency that's surviving in 2025.
That is astounding.
It's an old school business. It's family owned.
Yes.
Old as gold, baby.
We owned the building, so we didn't have to worry about rent increases. That's the key. Anyways, any other guesses on what people are in the U.S. are trying to use as photo ID at the airports?
I'll say a live performance of Born in the USA.
Solid.
I mean, that would work for Bruce Springsteen, maybe.
If someone did that and they
Okay,
didn't
it's
let
you.
them in, I don't even care who they are. I would be upset. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't even. Let them in.
You're American in spirit, goddammit.
I was going to say a passport from any of how many countries did Trump like ban?
Oh, the Muslim ban?
He just did it by shade.
No, this past week.
Yeah.
Did I make that up?
Yeah, it was basically a Muslim ban, like a
Yeah.
backdoor one.
Right. Yeah. And
He
any of
listed,
those,
like,
any of
20
those
yeah.
passports. This is how Trump works. We've lost track
Yeah,
of like
100%.
all of the shit. What did he do this week?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that one. Don't know how I did, but apparently I did. The real answer, Costco cards. TSA urges people to stop trying to use their Costco cards as IDs at the airport. Because as of May 7th, travelers on domestic flights in the U.S. have to produce what's called a real ID, which is like a piece of ID in compliance with this federal legislation. And apparently, internet rumors, and I'm sure a lot of bullshit on social media, convinced people that you could use a Costco card if you forgot like your real ID, and they would like that would be enough to like verify your name enough that they would then like search you in the system.
Those poor airport employees. They eat shit all day, and then you're going to argue with somebody where you're like, no, that's not ID. Not to mention Costco sells like, what, 10 passports for $5? Just get one of those.
I find going to Costco the most terrifyingly secure experience. It's like going to Soviet Russia. It's just chain link fence all the way up
You
to
do
the
often.
sky.
Which is, I mean, yeah, Ian's got some
Soviet Russia
experience.
was famous for its rotisserie chicken.
Yeah. And giant, like 38 packs of toilet paper. But I don't know. I would think the IDs would be good for anywhere.
I mean, they do technically, there's a photo on the back, as I recall. There's your name. I don't think there's your address. But, like, it's not nothing. But I can see why maybe it wouldn't be legally binding.
What do you think the over or under is in terms of years till it is? Till they just sort of integrate Costco and the passport office.
Yeah, it's like how we put Service Canada inside Staples.
Hey, as long as the hot dogs stay $1.50, it's fine.
Yep.
You know what I mean? As long as that CEO is still trying to murder anyone who
go.
raises the price of the hot dogs, it's all right.
Wasn't that literally a plot point in Idiocracy? They went to Costco to, I think, get him an ID or something like
Is
that.
it?
I think it was.
I don't know.
The
I
movie
can
was
only
so long
think
ago. And
Yeah.
And hasn't been prescient at all.
God damn it.
It's a little, yeah.
So yeah, no, Costco cards, not valid forms of ID. If you need an ID, use your NRA membership card. Anyways, and that is the end of our quiz, and I can announce that our winner, Claire Blackwood! Back-to-back champ!
One point.
You have won nothing
Dynasty.
but a plug. Go ahead.
Oh, yay. You can find me on Blue Sky at Claire Blackwood, and thank you. And my YouTube is It's Claire Blackwood.
Wonderful. Now, again, anything you want the people to know?
Yeah, I have a fun Dungeons & Dragons podcast called Comedians and Dungeons Getting Dragons, and I have, and I know this is going to sound insane after this episode, I have an optimistic good news podcast called Total Annihilation, and you should probably listen to it after this episode so that you can put one foot in front of the other.
Ian MacIntyre.
I'm on a very fun podcast called the Beaverton Weekly Report.
what is that?
Every week
sounds lame.
we talk about it. Yeah, I don't know. Check out the Beaverton. It's fun.
Wonderful. Yep, I will echo that. You can follow me, Luke Gordon-Field, on Twitter if you want, if that's still a thing you do. I'm not on anything else. Sorry about that. But mostly just follow the Beaverton, share our video clips. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you next time.
The Beaverton Weekly Report is produced by Andrew Rivamy in partnership with the From Superheroes Network. Visit FromSuperheroes.com to hear more great podcasts like this.